Once upon a time, in a room full of wonders, where every step leads to magic, and the journey of a true story begins here, with amazing guests and true miracles. Please like and subscribe for more amazing videos.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to share with you. Well, my near-death experience happened when I was about 5 years old, and I lived in Hawaii. And one day, my family, we decided to go to the ocean, and I have my parents and my 4 older siblings. And so this particular day, my 2 older siblings went surfing, and the other 2 stayed back with my mother on the shore, making sand castles and whatnot, playing. And my father took my twin sister and I out in the ocean. And this was common for us to do that. It was pretty fun to always go down to the ocean. And this one day he took us out. My dad is 6'3", and we went to out in the water where it was about his waist length, and he held both of us on both sides of his hips because we didn't know how to swim. And so we went out in the water, and we were just jumping the waves of the water, and the water was salt water, and so it splashed on us, and that was fun, or at least I thought it was fun. I don't think my sister thought it was so much fun, but probably because I was there, it was okay. But it was a beautiful day, and nice and sunny. And so one time then, as we were jumping the waves, my dad holding us in his arms, my dad slipped. He lost his balance. And I saw my sister go out of his arms and slid away, and so he grabbed her. And as he grabbed her, then I slipped out of his arm. And then I went into the water, obviously, and I didn't know how to swim. And so I tried to swim and get above the water. I couldn't because I didn't know how. And I could see at times, I could see him there, and then I couldn't see him. The water was murky, but then it would be clear again, and then murky again. And through time, I was just getting further and further away from him. All the time, I'm holding my breath and trying to swim. But again, like I said, I didn't know how to swim. So there came a point where he seemed far away from me, and I was getting tired, and I was feeling like I can't hold my breath anymore, and it was a little bit scary. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to die. Oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I'm really going to die at 5 years old. And it was very scary. But I ran out of energy. And so I remember just surrendering. And to myself, I was like, it's okay. I'm gonna die, it's okay. And at that moment, when I surrendered, I opened up my mouth, and I slowly started allowing water in my mouth. And pretty quickly, I went into this dark space, but then very quickly again, I went into this beautiful tunnel of water, and I was surrounded in water, beautiful, swirling blue and white water. And I wasn't afraid. I felt very joyful and happy. I forgot that I didn't know how to breathe. I left my body. And I even forgot that I didn't know how to swim. But yet I was swimming in the water. And I was just looking all around, and it was so pretty. The blue, the vibrant blue color that it was. And I didn't even think about my family. And this tunnel of water just was surrounding me and all around me, and I could see at a distance, as the tunnel narrowed down, there was this bright light. And I wanted to get to that bright light. I don't know why. I just remember feeling very excited. I was curious, and at the same time, I was very excited and very happy. And I felt love all around me and through me. And so I was just swimming like it was nothing. It was just easy, going towards that light. And as I was going through there, I got closer and closer. And it was, I think, about probably 20 feet before the end of that tunnel that, I was getting more and more excited to reach the end. Abruptly, I went back into my body. I felt an arm come up. It was my father. He had found me. I went back into my body, went up to the surface in the air. It was as if I took my first breath, because it was like really scary, and I was back in my body. I remember all this gush of water coming out of my mouth, and then I was choking, and then I was scary because it was just so abrupt. It was like, what just happened? And of course I was crying, and then my dad just brought me back to the shore. I never told my parents about what happened. It was just something that happened to me. It wasn't something that, I'm not going to tell them. It was almost like a weird gift that it was just for me. I fortunately had a good experience. I know many people who have had near-death experiences who have not had a good experience, and in particularly those that may have expressed themselves, and then they get negative feedback as if they're delusional or making up stories, or maybe as an adult because they've lived more life, they're just kind of processing what just happened to them. But for me, it was a wonderful experience, and because of that, I've always felt different. Like there's always been this knowing that there's an afterlife, and that I don't need to be afraid. Now, I was raised very religious in a box, and the way I was raised was that the afterlife wasn't really going to come until, who knows when, which is called when Christ comes back, or the awakening, or the as called the second coming. And that's when a lot of Christians on the Western Hemisphere believe that is going to happen in the future. And so, knowing my upbringing, it was kind of scary, because it was the afterlife and eternity was based on how you live this life now. And it's very judgmental. You don't know if you're going to have eternal life. You're in this void. You don't even know if you're going to be reunited with your family and friends. That's how I was raised. So it was very judgmental and very scary. But I always knew deep down inside that's not true. Like, it is so much more. It's the love of God, divine, light, consciousness. People call it all different words. it's so much more than this life in 3D. And it's just something that I feel unknowing. It's hard to explain. Those of us who have had near-death experiences or spiritual transformational experiences, it is a knowing that we just understand. And it's hard for somebody who maybe hasn't experienced this to believe it. It's all a matter of faith, perhaps, that you rely on your faith that there's more than this life. But I feel like it's a gift that I have, knowing this awareness. Now, I often wonder when you're in the womb, because there's always a connection with twins, right? And you can only imagine like what kind of conversations you might have had when you were in the womb, because there's always that connection. Now, my sister is special needs, so which is a gift, because we all have a purpose when we come here. We all do. It's being able to connect to God, divine, Jesus, higher awareness, light consciousness, to figure that out. We all come here to experience what we wouldn't be able to experience in spirit world. We need the feel and to experience how things are. And if we didn't come here, I believe we wouldn't really have a full understanding of like for example, just light and dark. We have a mental, but until we actually get to come here and experience what's light and dark, or what's love and the opposite of love, we fully get to understand that when we come to this earth. And so I feel like our purpose is diving deep to understand our gifts and what we wanted to experience coming here. And that can be in all kinds of forms. So my sister, we're fraternal. And we have a blessing of being both adopted by our parents. So although we have Asian background, heritage, we were raised in a Western culture, military family, blonde hair, brown hair, blue eyes, green eyes, that kind of, and it's a blessing, because we were very sick and malnourished. At 10 months old, I only weighed 13 pounds. She weighed 11 pounds. The doctor said she had only had a month to live. We were very sick, and so that's a miracle. Without going into even more details, it's a miracle. And I'm actually an author-writer, so I am, my first book is coming out in 2 months. And besides my website and all that, talks all about my story and all the miracles and things that have happened in my life that I see is just wonderful. And it's about recognizing divine love in your life. And so I am happy to share my experiences, not only my NDE, my adoption, all the traumatic experiences that I've had in my life, that now I see it as all purposeful. And I'm hoping that I can give hope to others, that they can look at their life and just kind of see it in a more deeper, meaningful way. I think that's our calling, that I think that we all might get to a certain point in our lives where we're looking at our life and going, what's the meaning? And the things that we planned didn't perhaps go the way we thought it would go. You look at all the traumatic experiences or just experiences in general, and you're going, wow, that didn't happen, or that happened this way, and just trying to understand your life and where you're going and what does it all mean. So my My website is in the makings. It'll soon be coming out with my blogs, my books, speaking engagements. But anyone can email me. It's, Paula, Paula, at paulahui, paulahui.com. But I'm so excited to share my story and give hope to others. And in this phase, of my life, I'm retired as a other career. I was an environmental engineer and health physicist, as well as a business owner. I was a real estate broker. So I am enjoying this next phase of my life. Understand and relate. We all are really connected, believe it or not. We just don't maybe recognize it all. But we've all, with my near-death experience, adoption, I even adopted my own son. I've had various traumatic relationships, marriages, divorces, where there's been abuse and violence, and then also just other wonderful experiences too, of just experiencing the afterlife and being with those that have transitioned from this life to the afterlife, and the phases that they're going through and have gone through. And I'm wanting to share all that with others. So there's just so much more that I want to share. So I'm really excited. I have, and in fact, a lot of people have said the amount of experiences you've experienced in this life, it's almost like you have many lives of many people that have experienced in this one life. And I do, and I'm just grateful that I just have had this innate, well, it's been hard. I'm not saying it hasn't been hard. It's been really difficult. But I'm because of all those experiences, that's why I'm a much stronger person today, right? Hopefully you're learning and growing, but I've always had this kind of perseverance to keep going. And that's which I believe has been divine love with me all the time. I just didn't know it at the time. But yes, I've been told that, like, the amount of things that I've been, somebody would think, I would think that you'd be bitter, or you'd have all kinds of mental problems, or just not liked your life, and some kind of mental, depression and disorders, but I fortunately have just been very resilient and all that, and I feel like it's so that I can help others get through the challenges that we all go through. Besides all my books and some speaking engagements that I will plan on doing, so hopefully it could be interactive and people can follow me. So it's all in the workings right now. It's going to be coming out this year, like I said, within the next couple of months. It's going to start coming out. So this is just the beginning stages. I also wanted to say that, I've even experienced both my parents. They are both deceased. And it's a different stage of life, too, when you don't have your parentless, But we have the ability to tap in, and to tap into spirit and understand our life. There's a lot of things that I do that have helped me. Obviously, I like to read a lot, and I write, and it's not for everybody. But it's very important for me to start my day through, and everyone has different practices, whether it be prayer or meditation, just that still quietness, spending that time starting your day. I feel like that's really important in my life, to do that, to set the intention for your day, opening it up with gratitude, and then just thinking not only gratitude, but like what you want, how your day to look like, and knowing that we all have that wisdom within us, and we can have a joy. We can have joy. I'm not saying to ignore the challenges that we have. Okay, we can observe those things and realize it, and look at it, but we don't have to be stuck. I'm not saying again to ignore those things and challenges in our life, but to actually sit back and look at it and see, what can I learn from this? How can I make this better? And give ourselves grace, and patience and love. And that's another thing, to treat ourselves with compassion every day, along with compassion to others, and knowing that everything is temporary in life, because we're evolving, we're learning and growing all the time, but we can live with joy daily. We just have to put in the work intentionally to make that happen. I didn't get that in my younger years. I was a different person back then. But now I feel like, wow, I wish I would have known. But sometimes you got to go through things so you get it. And that's okay. It's part of life.